We're live. Hello, everybody. It feels like it's been such a long time since I've done a video. I'm excited to be here today with Elena Russell from Home Equity Bank. Elena does the reverse or helps us do the reverse mortgages. I'll do my disclosures. My dogs are actually out for a walk with my youngest daughter, but she's coming in and out of the house. So there might be some background noise there. Hopefully there won't be any barking, but who knows? And as always, this information is accurate as of today, which is March 18th, 2021. What happens with different criteria and qualifying down the road, everything's on approved credit and can change in a flash like it usually does. So once again, Elena, thank you for having time to sit and chat with me today on how a reverse mortgage can help you in what we call a spring market. I'm gonna let you take it away.
Thanks, Lisa, for having me. So it's nice, kind of a little segue from our last little video you and I did. So thanks again for having me. I want to quickly chat with you and your clients and your colleagues and potentially industry partners about this crazy spring market. As we know, it's been just a really crazy time and it doesn't look like it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. So last discussion, we talked about myths and misconceptions about reverse mortgages and what they are and what they're not, and what basically the reverse mortgage is. It's like a conventional mortgage with no payments or payments optional. That's the best way, easiest way to describe it. So now we want to be able to use potentially reverse mortgages for purchases. And the way you do it is you talk to Lisa, you talk to your valuable mortgage broker, and you basically say, you know what, I'm 55 years old, which is a minimum qualifying criteria, and I'm thinking of buying a house. And as you know, the crazy spring market right now, you have to act really in a hurry to make an offer to purchase subject to financing and the other financial conditions. But as a reverse mortgage, the way you would do it is your broker will be doing the calculations for you and doing a pre-approval, and will be able to provide you, based on your age and the location of the property you're thinking of buying, by using Chip Advisor calculator, provide you how much you qualify for. And the qualifications are not based on your income. The qualifications for the new property will be based on the age of the clients, will be based on the location of the property and the purchase price. And usually we use the lower of the purchase price or appraised value. And those are really the only criteria we use for qualifying.
That's fabulous. Yeah, it makes it fairly simple, a fairly simple process, which is nice at that stage in the game, right?
Absolutely, yes. There's nothing easy about mortgages these days.
No, there is not. And like I said in the disclaimer, what's good one day can be totally different the next day. And if you're not staying up to date on policies, you could miss the boat. So it's a fun world.
Absolutely. So that's one of the ways that you can utilize reverse mortgages. Another way we can see, there's a lot of parents right now potentially want to help out their kids, or they want to co-sign for the grandchildren, and they want to provide them with some of the gifts. Especially lots of people have been kind of rethinking their estate planning strategy with the COVID. If they get sick, they want to see their children and grandchildren maybe next to them, instead of maybe buying a property that the kids can actually afford in their own incomes. So by using reverse mortgages, they can usually actually able to utilize the early gifting strategy, where they can take equity out of their existing home, mom and dad or grandparents, and give it as a gifted equity or gift letter to the children. Then the children may be able to qualify for higher property value or higher purchase price. And that is a tax-free. So now the kids can have some tax-free income or tax-free equity to put towards the purchase of the house.
Yeah, that's so nice, especially instead of having, an older grandparent going on title with them and then having the possible consequences down the road of that as well. Let's try and get them qualified on their own, right? That's an ideal situation.
Yes, absolutely. That the parents can see and the grandparents can see children enjoying the property they actually want, instead of maybe potentially buying something they can afford, without the consequences of co-signing, going in a title, going in a property. If something happens to the children or grandkids, if they don't go their separate ways with their significant others, now the mom and dad and grandfolks are not stuck with holding on to the mortgage and potentially making payments. So there's a different additional scenarios that we can utilize reverse mortgages. And the minimum to advance is $25,000. And the additional funds the parents can be eligible to receive, it's available to them as a contingency fund. So it's a great strategy to utilize it for emergency situations. And there are no payments, and it's a one-time setup, and it's a lifetime approval.
That's wonderful. That's awesome. What else? What other? I know we were talking before we went live on Facebook here, and I know there's a couple of other scenarios that you wanted to briefly talk about too. So I'm gonna let you have the run of it. So, and I'll
Thank you,
have
Lisa.
questions.
Yeah, we see a lot of people, unfortunately, COVID brought a lot of people together. The families got stronger because they've been kind of stuck together. So there's a really good relationship building. But also, unfortunately, it's affected a lot of people who are going through separations and divorce. And again, if the clients are 55 plus age, they're able to qualify usually when they're together on a joint income for a potentially higher property value, but now they're down to one income, they're going through separation or divorce, and one potentially client wants to stay in the home and another one needs to get paid out or removed from the mortgage. We can utilize reverse mortgages either for spousal buyouts or potentially for both spouses selling the existing residence and buying two properties under their own names and not to be, again, house rich and cash poor.
That's another great strategy that we can utilize. I honestly don't have too many questions on that. If anybody who's watching has questions, as always, feel free to either put them in the chat or send me a message and we will follow up with you and get you the answers that you need. What else do you have for us?
What else do I have for you? So we are going to be probably increasing the loan to values, access to additional loan to value. So that's coming. So stay tuned. We have some information about that. The rates, again, if the clients are shopping around, as you know, the fixed rates are going up. We haven't increased them too much. But again, if you're really kind of on the fence, don't stay on the fence. Jump off the fence and get moving.
I'm going to pop in here and just, I know it's the loan to value. So just for anybody watching that may not know, loan to value means the equity that you have in the home versus the amount of the mortgage that you're going to be putting on the property. So when Elena said that the loan to value is going to increase, that means you'll need less of a down payment going forward, hopefully sooner rather than later. So
just April 1st, not a joke, school days, it's coming. So yeah, so we'll be updating you shortly. And sorry for the bank lingo, but
oh, all good, all good.
So the bank will give you more money and you'll have to use less of your own cash. So those are the kind of the exciting news coming. Also, we'll be doing some podcasts about the different strategies and with realtors, accountants, financial planners. So please tune in, reach out to Lisa. She's a great source of different information. And if for whatever reason she doesn't answer your question, we'll be more than happy to find it for you.
I'll answer those questions, no worries.
You'll answer, but yes.
Perfect. Now, there was one thing you had, smarter retirement. You had mentioned that. So explain.
Yes, that's a really good strategy. Thank you for reminding me that. So we had actually a presentation in Ontario, and as you know, Ontario and Vancouver property values just are skyrocketing, right? So one of my colleagues in Ontario used the analogy and saying, why do we want to wait if your retirement strategy is potentially to move in a condo or a townhouse or a smaller place in 5 to 10 years, because you know you may be traveling, you may be doing things, you don't need as much of a space. Why wait for 5 to 10 years to buy that place as potentially higher property value? Buy it now, use the equity in your home, potentially rent it out, and then you buy a place exactly what you want instead of potentially scrambling last minute. So if you need to go into the smaller condo or a smaller townhouse, and you never know what the housing market is going to look at that point and what the price is going to look like. So buy now, buy low, especially condo market right now is not as saturated. There's not as much of a movement. You can testify a little bit, right? So there's a little bit more shopping potentially instead of single family homes. Hold on to it with the interest rates being around 4-5% instead of pooling your investable assets. Invest now and then move into that place you're really actually going to enjoy in retirement now later.
And that's the thing with investments. You always hear that you don't want to pull things out when we've kind of been going down, right? Everything. I mean, here's another disclaimer. I don't do investments. I do mortgages. So I'm just speaking on what I've been told by my financial planners that I work with. When you're low, we're on an uptrend. So you don't necessarily want to be pulling out your investments when this is what your investments are going to start doing. So leave them where they are and let them get some of that growth that we're coming back into, hopefully.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good idea. So buy low and sell high instead of a reverse strategy, right? So the Warren Buffett always says, you know, that the best investments are usually the ones the real estate, and the one of long-term strategies will pay you dividends. Again, with disclaimers for the investments, just talk to your financial planner, talk to your investment advisor, to your accountant, what the best tax strategy for you. But that's another option for you, is increasing your wealth, buying the properties now and holding them into the retirement so you can know for sure where you're going to be moving in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do we have anything else that we've missed? Anything else you wanted to touch on?
I think that's pretty much it at this point. Just a really kind of short, we wanted to keep it short and sweet and touch specifically on, about the housing market and the spring market going into. But like you mentioned, if the clients have any questions specifically about pre-qualifying or qualifying criteria, rates, we'll be more than happy to reach out to you and we'll find answers.
Perfect. That's awesome. And for anybody out there who's trying to purchase in this market, this crazy, crazy market that we're finding ourselves in, again, try to not get stressed. I know I have a few clients who are stressed right now because, you know, they're in there and competing with offers. Try and still enjoy the process. This is supposed to be one of the best times of your life, buying a new house. And if you need any support, I'm here. If we need to strategize on how you can make your offer uh, more appealing to the seller, reach out to me. Maybe we can come up with some ideas together to make sure that you can go in with a strong offer. And let's work with your realtor and make sure that you can have that strong offer. Um, but like I said, try to enjoy it. So I think that's all I have. Elena, thank you so much for coming on again. I really appreciate it. Anybody have any questions? I'm always here. So I look forward to speaking with everybody. And Elena, I look forward to continuing to do our chats together.
Absolutely. As always, a pleasure. And thank you very much. And she's you go-to girl, always a wonderful opportunity and wealth of resources.
Wonderful. Thanks, Elena.